See here it is. What is an IP address? It is a logical address uniquely identify a device in the network. Okay. IP address and MAC address differences are there. So IP address is logical address, MAC address is physical address. IP address is IPv4, IPv6. IPv4 is 32-bit, IPv6 is 128-bit. IPv4 address represented in a decimal format and IPv6 is represented in a hexadecimal format. But whereas MAC address is 48-bit and it represented in 12 hexadecimals. MAC address we are not using. We use a MAC address in the communication, but we are not communicating with MAC address. We are communicating with a IP address only. IP address is a logical, so depends upon the network will IP address can be changed. MAC address is physical address which is assigned by manufacturer of NIC. The NIC having a MAC address, it is a permanent address. And in IP addresses, we have IPv4 and IPv6. IPv4 32-bit, IPv6 128, IPv4 2 to the power of 32, almost 4.3 billion IP addresses we are using. In IPv6, it's 2 to the power of 128, 3.4 billions of IP addresses, exactly say 3.4 into 10 to the power of 38 IP addresses we are getting. IPv4 is decimal format, IPv6 is hexadecimal format. IPv4 is actually say 4 parts. Each part we call it as a octet, means 8 bits. Totally 32 bits, 8 bits, 4 octets divided with a dot. In IPv6 is a hexadecimal format. Each hexadecimal represents 4 binary bits. So 128-bit is divided by 4 is 32 hexadecimals we are using in a IPv6, and 32 hexadecimals divided into 8 blocks. Each block contains 4 hexadecimals. Okay, and these blocks are divided by a colon. Okay. Next, IPv6, the 4 parts. Each part size is 0 to 255. Maximum of each octet size is 255 only. In IPv4, we use a local host address is 127.0.0.1. In IPv6, it's a colon 1. So what is this local host? Local host is a name of every PC as its own name is local host, and every PC has its own IP address with or without having an NIC. So that is 127.0.0.1. It is used for inside PC communication or inside same server communication, means same device communication. Within the device communication only we are using, and it is also used for self-testing purpose. And also there is an IP address called 0.0.0, which is also called as unknown IP addresses, or a reserved IP address for a certain protocol purposes, like a default routing, a DHCP, DORA process, deployments. Okay, so we use this kind of call it 0.0.0. In a IPv6, it's just a colon only. In IPv4, we have a unicast, multicast, and broadcast way communication. In a IPv6, we have a unicast, multicast, and anycast communication. IPv4, we divide IP addresses into classes, like a class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. In IPv6, we divide IPv6 addresses into local, link local IP address, which is private IP address, and every device, once it is enabled with IPv6 is enabled inside a device itself, generate an IP address is called a link local. So link local IP address starting number is FE80. If you see the IP address, its starting IP address is FE80 colon colon. And remaining something will be there. It's a private. It only works in the LAN communication, which is self-generated by PC using the NIC MAC address. Global unicast address is a public IP address to communicate in the public. Not only these two things, there is a private IP and multicast IP addresses also there. Okay. So next part is IPv4 classes. These classes, these 5 classes are divided for a entire range of 0.0.0.0 to 255.255.255.255 into 5 classes. And how to identify a class based on their first octet. The range of first octet of a IP address, so that will decide the first octet number will decide which class it is. If it is in between the class range, so we can tell which class it is. Again, so class A range is 120 0 to 127, but in some test book it is showing 1 to 126. Okay, so why it is 1 to 126? Because of 0.0.0 is reserved IP address for a certain protocol use, or as like a example default routing or a DHCP DORA process. They use this kind of unknown IP address kind of stuff. And also we don't use 0 series IP addresses. And 127.0.0.1 is also reserved IP address for a local host and loopback IP addresses. And also we don't use means we don't assign to any of adapter with 127 dot any IP addresses. 127 series we don't use it. That's why certain textbooks or websites shows 1 to 126, but original range is 0 to 127. Class B 128 to 191, Class C 192 to 223, Class D 224 to 239, Class E is 240 to 255. Class D is R&D, it is completely reserved, no one is using. Class D is for multicast, by multicast communication with a certain protocols like a BootP protocol or a dynamic routing protocols like a RIP version 2, EIGRP, OSPF. They use this multicast communication. And we are used for our PCs, we assign only Class A, Class B, Class C ranges only, that to accept 0.0.0.0 and 127.0.0. So it means 0 series and 120 series, except these two series, all remaining Class A, Class B, Class C ranges we use for, we can assign to any device. Okay, so first of all, try to identify any IP address, which class it is. So again, we use only first 3 classes. So then I've written only first 3 classes: Class A, Class B, Class C. Class A is 0 to 127, Class B 128 to 191, Class C 192 to 223. Okay, so why we should divide a classes, and why these 3 classes, what is this other importance? So we'll see. Just last time I explained, we can divide a network into the logical way, like a one net, this is another one network, another network kind of stuff. Okay, so an example, here is an example. You have a building, the building floor number is 201. So like, sorry, a door number is 201, meaning is second floor first door, 202, 203, 204, like this. What is this meaning? All are in a, all these four belongs to second floor only. So for example, I have a 304, 303, 306. All three are belongs to third floor. Means floor number is not changing, door number is changing. So in your network, we have a network and a host part. Network should not be changed. If network is 1 and a host is 1, network is 1, host is 2, network is 1, host is 10, network is 1, host is 5. It means network is must be same, host part is changing. That's why it is uniquely identifying. So if network, this meaning is all these are in the same network. Same network means they can communicate each other. If network is changed, if network is changed, okay, meaning is it is a different network. Network part is changed, mean it is a different network. So this network and these devices cannot communicate each other. They can't communicate each other. So that is the main importance of this network and host parts. That's why we are dividing IP addresses into the classes based on the spaces. Okay. So here in this one, the class A, the first portion is network portion. Remaining portions are host portions. Remaining portions are host portions. For example, I have an IP address. For example, I have a PC1, IP address is 10.0.10.5. So what is the network portion here? This is the network portion. These entire three things are a host only. As I said, host is changed. Like each PC having 1, 2, 3, 4 number, like roll numbers are there. Okay, I put a roll number. Okay, 101, 102, 103, 104. So 1 means your batch number. 1, 2, 3, 4 is your roll numbers. Okay, like this. So I have a PC2. Same 10 dot 10 dot 51 dot 2. What is the network portion? 10. And host portions remaining are at host portions. Right? This is the host portion. This is the network portion. So you look at here. So network portion same. So these two pieces can communicate each other. Same like I am writing another PC. I have another computer. That IP address is 11.12.5.3. This is host portion, right? So this is the host portion and this is the network portion. But network is different here. It means it is a different network, so they won't communicate each other. So PC1 and PC2 cannot communicate with the PC3. So this is network and host wise. Okay, you guys understand this example? Network must be same, network portion must be same. Then only PCs will communicate. If in case, I want to make a communication between these two devices to this device. I want to make a communication between these devices. For example, this is the PC1, okay, and this is the PC2. Okay, of course, they are connected. And this is PC3. Now I want to communicate between PC1, PC2, PC3. Like this, you can't communicate. Why? Because of this network is different. So what to do? You have to change the IP address. You have to change the network portion. Then it will communicate. So now network portion is 10. Network portion is 10 here. Network portion is 10 here. So then these three PCs will communicate each other in this kind of network. So all are connected to same switch, and first two PCs are configured as like this, but third by mistake you configure like this, you have to correct it. Just in case it's not by mistake, you are creating another network, like you have a PC4. The PC4 is also 11 series, 11 dot, this is also 11 dot something, this is 10 dot something. Okay, so it is logically both are different network. PC1, PC2 communicate each other, PC3, PC4 communicate each other. So, but PC1, PC2 cannot communicate it to PC3, PC4. So like this. So I given this picture, right? So this is one network, this is another network, physically connected but logically divided. So someone got it out like, sir, I want to communicate. I want to make a communication between these two networks together. I want to make a communication between these two together. How to make a communication? This is a one network. This is another network. So communication means communication between two different networks called a inter-networking. First class in the network. Inter-networking. Communication between two networks called a inter-networking. Okay. So which device is inter-networking device? Which device is inter-networking device? Router. Router is a inter-networking device. If in case you have a devices with a different logical networks, then you want to make a communication between these devices, you have to use the router. Okay, you can go to this same one only, go up, then you will find what I have written in the starting. Inter-networking means communication between different networks. See, it is a network, this is another network, this is another network. But you want to make a communication between these networks, I am using router. I'm using a router. Okay, so I don't know. So guys, that is a thing. Okay, so again, from class B example also I'm taking, that's my PC1. So my IP address is 172.16.15.4, and I have a PC2. IP address is 172.16.200.10. Which class it is? Class B. Class B, first two portions are network portions. Here it is, class B, first two portions are network portions. So these pieces can communicate each other. Why? So network, first portion, same. Network. So first, second portion is also same. Third portion can be anything. Okay. So same example, if I take 173.16, 150.12. Again, first portion network, second portion network, but it is different, so it won't communicate. It is, the first portion is not 172, it won't communicate. Or I took a 172, but this time it is 17, okay, 14, 3. See again, this network is okay, good, but this network is not good. So it is different. So compulsory, both network portions must be same, then only communicate. I'll take another example like a 192.168.10.55. This is PC1. 192.168.10.172. So what is a network portion? So class C. It is a class C, right? So class C network portion is first three are a network portions. So network same, network same, network same. Okay. So first portion same, second portion same, third portion same. So they will communicate each other. Just in case by mistake you put like this. See this is a different network. These are the same, but this is different. So automatically no communication. Any portion, all portions must be, you have to verify. So all portions, see this portion is different. So see this network portion is different. So make sure that all the network portions must be same. So first portion, second, third. Okay, some people will get a tricky idea like, sir, can I put a 168, 192, 10? So network same only. No. Network portion must be same. Each network portion must be same. If you jumble, it is different, right? This is the first portion, this is second portion, but this is different portions, right? So this is a thing to know about whether it will communicate or not. And one more is there, that is called a subnet mask. Before going to subnet mask, guys, in a class A, first portion is network, remaining is host portions. Meaning is, host means a device or a computer. Host means you can assign an IP address, example like a sequence manner, like a 1, 2, 3, 4. So network is constant, so you don't change the network portion, right? Like for example, network portion is 10. This 10 should not be changed. So it will be like this, 0.0.0 starting. Of course, we don't use this one. This is a network ID. Okay. And next IP address is, from this one, we are going to assign to devices. Like this is PC1 IP address. This is PC2 IP address. 3, 4. You received a 255. Then it is 1.0. It keep going. It will go to 10 dot, sorry, 255.255.254. We can assign up to this number from 10.0.0.1 to 10.2, 255.255.254. This 10.255, 255, 255 is called a broadcast ID. So we don't assign these two IP addresses to any adapter. We can assign from here to here. How many IP addresses are there from this to this? You know, it's a 2 to the power of, how many host portions are there? 3. 3 8s, 24. Number of host portions are, total is 24 host bits. Octet, 8 bit become 24. Minus 2. What is the meaning of minus 2? Because this network ID we cannot assign to any device. And broadcast ID also we don't assign to any device. So you have to calculate this thing. So how much it is? 2 to the power of 24 means 16,777,216. Okay, so 16,777,216 and minus 2, it is 16,777,214 is the number of hosts, number of devices we can assign these IP addresses. Okay. Similarly, class B. Similarly, class B. Network, network, host, host. Same goes for a 2 number of host means 2 to the power of 16 minus 2. Class C. Network, 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 host. 2 to the power of 8 minus 2. Okay. See, it is class C. Number of devices means number of IP addresses we are getting. So number of devices, we can assign that IP address in the same network. Network is not changing. So how many devices we can assign? So that is a maximum 254 devices we can assign this IP address. Class B, 65,534 IP addresses we can assign to the devices. Means that many 65,534 maximum devices we can connect in a single logical network. Okay. In a class A, again 16 million devices we can connect in a single network. Okay. And why it is? Guys, we have 100 computers. For example, in my office, I have 100 computers. Which class is best class? Only 100 without wasting more IP addresses. I have taken a network. I have to take a network, but which class network I have to take? Example, class C, 254. I have 100 computers. I will get a 254. The wastage is 154. But if I take a class B, it's 65,000. Wastage is around 65,430 for IP addresses. I'm not using for in a network. For example, I have a 200 computers, class C. 300 computer, class C, not support. We have to go to class B only. Even there is a lot of wastage. 500 computer, class B. 1,000, class B. 5,000, class B. 10,000, class B. Up to 65,534, you can use class B network. Okay. Just in case you cross that one. So you have a huge network, more than 65,000 devices are there in your network. So what you will do, you can choose class A network in that one. Okay. So that's why the IP addresses divide into the classes and mainly number of devices. Based on number of devices, we can connect it. That's why we divide a IP address into network and host portion. To represent a network and host portion, to understand by computer and a network communication, when you are communicating from one device to another device, when you are communicating from one device to another device, okay, to understand both are in a same network, both are in a same network, or both are in a different network. Okay, is both are same network, communicate, both are different network, don't communicate, right? So this is don't communicate and communicate. How these devices understand? They understand by calculating network ID. What it is? When two devices are communicating each other, when two devices are communicating each other, So they will tell their network ID. If both network ID are same, so they will communicate each other. But how to calculate? By giving subnet mask. By giving subnet mask. What is the use of this subnet mask? Subnet mask is calculate network ID. Okay, so using subnet mask, system will calculate network ID. If both the pieces network ID is same, they will communicate each other. Otherwise, not communicate. Here I have written few things, guys. Device must be in the same network to communicate each other. Means their network portion must be same, or their network ID must be same. If you want to make a communication between two or more different networks, means their network ID is different. So you have to use router. Router is a inter-networking device. And again, how devices knows their network ID? By they will know by their subnet mask. Default subnet mask means by default we divide our IP address into the classes, and the class A, class B, class C represent with the network portion and host portions by default. By default means it can be changeable. Okay. So what is a class D subnet mask? No. Class D and class C don't have any subnet mask. Okay. So subnet mask only for class A and class B, class C, because it's a unicast addresses. Okay, so it can be divide your network portion and host portion. So one network portion is same, it will be. It use a logical AND gate. Logical AND gate calculation. So to calculate network ID, first of all, you have to convert your entire IP address into binary and subnet mask into binary. Do ending operation. So how to do ending operation is very simple, guys. Both side 1 1 is there, then you have to put a 1. Any side 0 is there, at least 1 0 or a multiple zeros, like 0 0 is a 0, 0 1 or 1 0 becomes 0 only. So means both the inputs are 1 1, then output is 1, logical 1. Similarly, you have 1 1 1 1 1 1 0 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 0, like this. So I got this network ID from there. Okay, so we are not going to deep in this network kind of stuff. If you really want to learn CCNA subnetting concepts, like you want to go through the networking core networking side, yeah, subnet mask, subnetting calculations, subnetting. Okay, subnetting, learning of subnetting is very useful. This is only to know what is the subnet mask for a class A and class B, class C. Okay, guys, this is subnet mask. I said subnetting, right? So what is the subnetting? Subnetting is divide a network, your IP network, into multiple subnets. Subnetting is a concept used to divide your IP network into small networks, small subnets. What happened? Something got freeze. Okay, okay. So can you see here it is in a class C we are getting a 254 IP addresses. Okay, for example, I have only 50 computers. I don't require 254. I have only 50 computers. I want IP addresses which is near little higher than a 254, 50, not to 254. So what I will do it, I will divide this network into small portions. Okay, using subnetting calculation. So very simple it is. See here it is. If you change the subnet mask, automatically network ID will changes. See it is. This is the default subnet mask. Okay, and your network ID is 170.16.0.0, but here it is I changed the subnet mask, I got a different network ID. See, it's look like same, but network IDs are different, so both are become different networks now by simply changing the network. And number of hosts will be reduced. This is a host portion. Zeros represent a host portion, ones represent binary ones represent network portion. So this is host portion is also changed. This is 65,534 host network. So in this network you can connect 65,534 devices. We can connect it, but in this one you can connect only 254 devices only. So number of devices per network will reduce by dividing network into multiple subnets. There is a supernet, and supernetting is there. That is a combine the multiple subnets into large subnet, large network. Okay, that is a different. Okay, so here it is a by default we are using default subnet mask only. Okay, so if you are using a default subnet mask, so you are telling an IP address, just you are telling an IP address, that is enough. You don't need to specify the subnet mask. Uh, if you don't specify the subnet mask, means it is a default subnet mask. Use the default subnet mask only. Okay. If you are using a different subnet mask, compulsory you have to tell what is your subnet mask. If you are using that different subnet mask called a customized subnet mask, that type of network is classless. If you are using default subnet mask is called a classful. If you are using different subnet mask, means it is this network we call it as a classless. This is classless. This is classful. I have written something here. So to represent a subnet mask, either it is a classful or classless, you can write a subnet mask like this, or you can write in a prefix mode. In a certain systems, you have to write in the prefix, means slash notations. Means slash notations. What is this slash notation? Slash some number represent number of ones. Number of ones in the subnet mask. 255 means 8 ones. 8 ones. 8 ones. 8 ones. 8 ones. It will become slash 24. So 255 only 8 ones. 8. 255 means 16 ones are there. 3 are there, so this is like this. Okay, here it is 8 ones, 8 ones, 8 1 plus 1 plus 1. This is represent 1 triple 0 4 zeros. So meaning is if you are convert into binary, you will get a 25 ones. So this is the representation, guys. So like this value is 128, this is 192, 224, 220, 240, 248, 252, 254, 255. So it is 224 and this is 240. 8 plus 8, 240 means 4 ones, means 16 plus 4, 21 slash 20. Your subnet mask is like this. We represent our subnet mask slash like this. Okay. In this one, there is a 24 ones plus 3 ones additionally we have. So we can see here it is. So this is totally 27 ones are there. So if in case, if you are not using default subnet mask, so compulsory you have to tell what is your subnet mask, and to represent a subnet mask, either it is default or customized. So we can use slash notation, also called as a prefix in certain cases, also called as prefix, that this represent a subnet mask. So why it is 128, 224, 240 kind of stuff? Because that is in the subnetting, we use different subnet masks based on the network and host related. So that time numbers will come like that. But these three are by default. Okay. So class A, class B, class C. Guys, please take care of your okay. I don't know how many people are really understand. I'm keep telling that's it. Okay, I'm not. Minus is not there in the class. Okay, but if you understand, good. If you don't understand, it's not a big deal. Just try to few points must be stamp is there. Okay, so I will tell very important points, very compulsory by heading kind of stuff. At least by heading is important. Guys, in a IP addresses, we have a private IP and public IP. In a LAN communication, private IP is enough. Okay, you don't need to buy any private IP address. You don't need to purchase any private IP. You don't need to take a permission to use any private IP. Okay, you no need to take permission from anybody, or no need to take permission from anybody. No need to pay to use the private IP addresses. No need to pay something amount for a private IP. Not required. So those IP addresses is used for our LAN communication. The private IP addresses are non-routable IP addresses, means in a public, these IP addresses are invalid. Invalid. Here it is class A, class B, class C. Class A 10.0.0.0, class B 10.255.255.255. Class B, one second, why it is nothing. Okay, so class B 127.16.0.0 and it is a maximum size is 170.31.255.255. That's the total is class B. Class C 192.168.0.0 and 192.168.255.255. You may have seen this class C ranges very frequently in any network, in any your local network. Okay, yeah, whether it is a network in your home or maybe internet center in offices, colleges, you may see in this 192 series very often. So why it is? Because it's a private IP. Private IP, that too 192.168. 192.168 is a private, not 192.169. Not 192.169. Okay, 192.168 is a private. And 172.16, 172.17, 172.19, like up to 172.31 is a private IP. 172.32 is not private IP, it is a public IP again. Similarly, 10 series is private IP. 10 dot something anything is a private IP. 11 again public IP address. Okay. Within our network, we use a private IP in a local LAN network. In outside network, it is a private IP only. It's a public IP only. Public IP addresses, we should pay to use the public IP. For example, you have a server in your network. Okay. You have your own server in your network. Okay. You have your own server. For example, it contains some website, some app server, or some streaming server. Okay, so in your system, and you have a internet, right? So then you are connected through internet. In private, this is a client PC. In your private, okay, you are communicating to this server, means it is intranet communication. What is internet? So when you are communicating outside, okay, for example, it's a google.com is there. We are accessing google.com through internet. Okay. Similarly, you have a server. If you can able to access because it is in your private network, but someone in the outside of your network, someone in the outside of the network, the person is in the internet, this person is in internet, want to access your web server, your web server should be assigned with a public IP. If you don't have a public IP, this person cannot able to access your web server. This person cannot access your web server. So this person want to access your server through internet. You must have a public IP address. Okay. You must have a public. This public IP address you have to purchase from ISP. Through ISP is better, or you can purchase separately. Public IP addresses authority is there, regional authority. So go that one. IANA, ICANN, regional authorities are there. So better it is you're getting a network through your service provider. So take the public IP address from it. Sometimes you have a server and it contains some private IP. Okay, and you don't want to change the private IP, but whenever you want to get communicated from public, you will communicate with the public IP. Okay, so to communicate outside, you will communicate with the public IP, or you want to get communicated, so you will communicate it by that public IP. In this case also you have to purchase a public IP address. So how it is possible? Your server is having a private IP, but communication through public IP address. For security purpose, maybe, may not be, okay. Or maybe hiding your original IP addresses. What we will do it, we'll put in a router, we configure NAT. NAT means network address translation. Network address translation. So what is this network address translation? For example, this guy is sending a request with your public IP, and a request reach up to your router. In the NAT, there's a mapping between this private IP and public IP. For example, your private IP is 192.168.10.180. Public IP address is example, it is 20.30.11.81. Okay, some public IP address. So when this guy is requesting, send a request with this IP address only. So request reach up to this router. The router is understand this is the IP address, original IP address is this, then request will be forward to this server. And server will understand the request and giving a reply. So when it is replying, this is the from address and his address is to address, and go to this NAT again. In the NAT, it is reverse again. This is become from address. The public IP address is from address and his address is to address. Okay, this is called a network address translation. Network address translation. It maps your internal IP address like a private IP address to external IP addresses. You have a multiple servers or a multiple devices are there. You want to communicate through network, or you want to get communicated through public network. So you need to purchase those many public IP addresses. You have to purchase those many public IP addresses. Okay, so for each device, public IP addresses you have to put it. So this is called a static NAT. It's a single inside IP, one-to-one type, one private, one public. You have a 10 private, okay, you have a 10 servers. That means you have a 10 private IP addresses, means you need a 10 public IP addresses. Okay, so because of you're an organization, company like that, so you have a servers like google.com, facebook.com, w3schools.com. Okay, so we have a servers, right? So many application servers are there. What they will do it, so for each part they will use IP addresses, public IP addresses. They will buy. We don't buy, right? I have a lot of devices. I have a laptop, mobile phone, and a TV is there currently. Only 3 devices. Once my people came, then multiple, like my sister, one laptop, 2 mobile phones, my nephew, one laptop, one mobile phone, my father having one mobile phone, my brother-in-law having another mobile phone, laptop, 2 mobile phones, right? Like that. So point is, number of private IP addresses increases depends upon the organization or a home. So we cannot purchase public IP addresses, right? For each private, you cannot each device you cannot purchase public IP addresses. Then what we are doing is we don't do anything. In generally, okay, in generally we don't do anything, or we can do it if in case depends upon the network. So depends upon the type of network. Okay, so we can purchase a single public IP or a 1 or 2 public IP addresses. We are purchased it. Then what we will do it? We do a PAT technique. What is this PAT technique? Port address translation. Port address translation. Port address translation. What is this port address translation? It is nothing but a NAT only, but NAT overload. In the NAT, one IP, one private, one public type. Means it's a one-to-one type. But in a port, it is not like that. One public IP address, but all private IP addresses are mapped to one single public only, because we can't offer public IP addresses, more public IP addresses you can't purchase. For example, you take an office. Our office having a almost 100, few 300 200 computers are there, right, in our calculate in Hyderabad office. But we have a lot of computers, laptops, servers, so many are there. Server may having a direct public communication, but the remaining people only using a basic internet services, right? They don't require each PC not required a public IP. We can't purchase it also. So what we do it? Use PAT technique. So why it is called a NAT overload? NAT means 1-to-1, but we are overloading all to one. Like you have 10 devices, means 10 private IP addresses or mapped to one single public. How it is possible? Using a port technique. So port address translation, all our internet, what are the internet we are using in our home. So that is a PAT type only. But in this, our home, public IP address take care by ISP provider. Public IP address is take care by ISP, internet service provider. Okay. Next, see, it is my private IP. It is my public IP address. So private IP address, but same public IP. They will map in the by using port numbers. The some temporary port numbers. It is not protocol port numbers. It's just a temporary port numbers. Once session is completed, the details will be removed. Okay, it mapped and stored in your ISP server only. Okay, so once your session completed, means you send a request, you received a information from there, so automatically these ports will be, means this transaction mapping is closed. Again, new mapping will be created again. Okay, but there is a small problems are there. So we'll see that one problem is, for example, in a NAT, using NAT, you have a server in your home using NAT or a public IP part. So you have a public IP and the respect to private IP here. So if anyone is want to access your server, so they can access your server directly with your public IP. So it is translated into private, and then finally you reach the server. Like you have 10 servers, 10 private, so 10 public IP addresses. Each public request will go to individual servers. But here in this FAT technique, there is some problem. For example, you have a normal PCs, you want to communicate something like a google.com. Yes, you can communicate. Okay, you can communicate. So like I want to open google.com, request go, and I will reach it. Because I send a request, this google.com only knows my public IP, then it is replying to my public IP with the session ID and all. So my internet service provider understand the incoming packet and they'll forward to me and it is come to me. Means you send a request, you'll get the information. You send a request, then you will get it. Okay. But for example, you have a server. In your network, you have a server. Someone is trying to access your server. Um, you have a public, right? So we have one public IP address. Is trying to access with this public. Is send a request. I want to access your server. You send a request. Then this to your public IP, and the public IP is forward to your ISP. ISP got that request, and what it will do, it drop the packet. Because when you are sending a request, there is a map is creating. Because of this mapping, so when you are receiving a reply or a response, using this map, it will understand which device is asking this particular packet. Because when you are sending, it has your details like your IP address, your port number, your session ID, like that. So it will forward your packet and reach the destination. When destination giving response using this same mapping, okay, so it will forward the packet to your PC. That is PAT. But in case someone, you have a server and server or maybe any PC, you have a PC, someone knows your public IP and they are trying to send a request with your public IP. This public will receive up to ISP, but he's sending some information, means he's sending some request, right? Okay, or he's sending some packet. ISP don't have any mapping here. ISP don't have any mapping. This packet is belongs to you. That kind of mapping is not there. What they will do, it will confuse and drop the packet. It is using PAT. It is a kind of one-way communication type. Not one way. You send a request, you will get a response. Someone is trying to send a request, no, they cannot send it. That's why in India, we thought like India is a, some people will try to price India thing like we are ancestors, we have so many things and all. Not only that one, guys, there's a lot of techniques we use in India to save money, save lot of other things. Okay, not overburden on people. Okay, what are the techniques we use that is always safe for our India? So, example, we use different frequencies for different things. For example, internet. Internet is we are getting internet from internet service providers. Okay, we are getting internet from internet service provider. Okay, and we are getting TV channels from TV related connectivity, right? So you have a Airtel, TV is there, Airtel, internet is there. Both are separate. Okay, both are separate. So satellite TVs, separate channel. Internet, separate channel. Telephone, separate. Air Force signaling, separate. Naval signaling, separate. So then it never mixer.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
sir, what is IPTV?
IP?
What is IPTV?
IPTV. Very good. IP
TV.
TV. So yeah, nowadays we are getting smart TVs, right? So actually, first one is voice over IP. So in a generally we use telephone communication to communicate from one place to another, like a one to another communication through telephone. So if you want to communicate, means international calls through telephone communication is very costly. So what they use internet to communicate from one to another one, like these callings, all our IT department callings are there. No? So our company is in India, client is in America, our corporate office in New Jersey, like that. It is there. So you want to make a communication means continuous calls, BPOs, KPOs, continuous communication is there. So what we will do it? We'll go with a voice over IP. So it is a look like a telephone, but it connects to the network. Okay, connects to the network. So this is a you're calling through internet. Okay, separate charges are there. Similar concept, IPTVs. So you are connecting your TV through network. So that's a simply IPTV type. Now smart
Sir,
TVs there. We can able to connect our Wi-Fi.
sir, I have little question.
Tell me.
So, sir, if it like voice over IP is very costly, so why don't we prefer to calling over WhatsApp?
Um, that time WhatsApp is also not there, right? Golden days. No, it's not like that. It's a voice calling. So it is, of course, internet calling, but call quality also maybe it is not good. It's through
Sir,
app, right? So
I have little much more query.
yeah, it's
Sir,
actually very good question.
yeah,
Yeah,
sir,
tell me.
if we are using VPN servers, so how like we are using some kind of VPN servers over our services, so why it is speed is so slow? Like I have just I have like 40 mbps of plan, but if I using
Okay,
VPN, so at that time it starts giving 5 mbps to 4 mbps of speed.
that is I don't know. So I never use VPN, and that too. I don't know what VPN you are using, guys. Again, so, actually, just before I am in this place, like a private IP public, I want to give the people an assignment for today. So find out what is VPN and how it is works. Okay. Today, try to find either you can go through my videos. Last time I told to someone what is a VPN, or you can already I told that is a power set kind of stuff. Okay, so you can go through this or any videos. I don't mind where you are going and getting the information. I don't mind. So find out what is VPN, what is VPN, how it is connect, and what is the use of VPN. And if possible, what is proxy? What is the difference between VPN and proxy? Okay, guys. About a VPN, there is a lot of benefits are there, but in India, what we are using VPN is that is a little danger. And I'm not sure about what VPNs are good or what VPNs are not good because I never used it. In this private VPNs, I never use it. Okay, so here it is. This is some country to access certain websites. For example, Amazon Prime. In India, only few series are there. In America, there are different series also there. Like to websites or to their materials. You want to access their servers. So country-wide restriction is there. So certain websites cannot be accessed from
Sir,
other countries,
sir,
right?
if it is country wise, so why we call this virtual private network?
No, no, yeah, actually, no, no. The concept is different. So VPN concept is different. This sites, certain things only accessible from within the country, like within the US only. Okay. Some people are trying to put a VPN server. Means over the internet, you can connect this person's server. Okay. Over the internet using app or some license kind of stuff, right? You can connect it to this server. So what he will do, he will mask your identity. He will mask your identity. So you will connect like it is a VPN. Once you are connected and you can able to access these servers with his IP address, with his IP address. Some people require, you may require to pay for this one. Some people don't pay for this one. Okay, if it is a funny thing like any free things, free stuff available in this country sites, no problem. If in case you want to access the bank or emails, you want to access directly these sites through this VPN, what will happen? This VPN guy knows who are you already. So what are the data is transmitting through VPN, he will know it. And no one can able to catch it because VPN is a very secure line. Except the VPN guy, no one knows what is that connection, what is the data is transmitting, including you also don't know what is going on. So be careful, guys, if you are using any third-party VPN kind of stuff. Virtual private network, it masks your network. Okay, so it is. I have a corporate office. I have a server. For example, I have a database server. Okay, so if I'm in the same office room, okay, this is a server and this is my machine. Through network, I can able to access my database server directly. No problem. I don't require internet also. Direct network, I can able to access my database server. If in case this database server put it in a public, okay, if this database server put it in a public, like we are accessing gmail.com, facebook.com kind of stuff, they are in a public. So any person can able to access through internet. That is not secure, not at all secure because the database is belongs to an organization. Okay, that database service belongs to an organization, not for public access. It is not good idea. Second one is I have a branch office. For example, in Hyderabad, we have a branch office. In New Jersey, corporate office. Okay. So what happened? I have a server. I want to connect this server to this server directly. Then I use leased lines. So I'll call to my ISP. I want to make a connection between my office to New Jersey office It's a permanent connection. Means, sorry, a dedicated connection, not permanent, a dedicated connection. Dedicated connection means very simple. You know, highway, anybody can go, right? Anybody can go. It's a highway. You know, leased lines is not like a highway. Highways are like a broadband connection. What internet we are using, that is a broadband connections. That is like a highway road. Okay. But leased lines are a separate road, separate path to reach the destination. So in a broadband means in highways, depends upon the traffic, your internet speed varies. Internet speed high and low. For example, morning internet speed is good. Okay, after 9 o'clock, internet speed is little slower. It's slow, goes slow, slow, so right. So it is happen. If traffic increases, you can't go faster. Okay, traffic is less, you go faster, right? So like same thing, internet, more people are accessing internet, traffic is down. Sorry, internet speed is down. Okay, less members, like midnight, morning 4 o'clock, full speed. Okay, so but leased lines always a constant. Even you taken a 10 Mbps, 10 Mbps guarantee you will get it. Broadbands are up to type, up to 50 Mbps, up to 100 Mbps. This is 10 Mbps means 10 Mbps. Yeah, topic is went somewhere. No, no, no. It is VPN topic only. These leased lines are costly, very costly, and only we are can able to connect a dedicated um, um, organizations between dedicated organizations only, like Hyderabad office to New Jersey office and Sri Lanka office or Bangalore office or maybe Noida office. Okay, Australia or maybe like this. Dedicatedly, we can make some connections, and it required public IP address, of course, and then every month, every year, there is a payment. Lot of payment is there. For example, someone is in the work from home. You cannot get a lease line, right? Work from home candidate, home, work from home candidate don't get these lease lines. Small branch, for example, Pune is a very small branch. And I don't know Noida, I never seen that one. So, okay, I've seen Pune office is small one. So we don't go with the lease lines. Very less number of employees also there. So we don't go with the lease lines here. So what do we need? We need a VPN. Okay. So what is this VPN? It is nothing but a intermediate between public and private. Means inside a infrastructure will be connected to the public through VPN, but not everyone. Not everyone. This is a work from home candidate. Use a VPN application and give the username. Passwords are there. So you'll give a username, password, the connection IP address or a name. There's URL type, domain name is there, or a IP address will be there, and there is a tunneling protocols are there. So over the internet, so you can establish the connection. So first, this user send a connection request. VPN server verifies. VPN server verify user identity, and if everything is good, then it is allowed to access. So while it is allowing access, you are accessing through internet, right? So internet is a very dangerous. Internet is a very dangerous. Anybody can able to attack your data communication. So what it will do, it create a tunnel. Okay, it is create a tunnel and it encrypt the tunnel. So then the entire communication will be encrypted. So if anyone is trying to attack your communication between your PC to your server, They cannot do it because it is completely covered with the tunnel protocol and as well as encryption. So your data is safe, no one is attacked, no data tampering, no attacks, no data tampering. This is actually good word is in using VPN, no data tampering. And line is secure, line is not dedicated, but it is encrypted. Leased lines are dedicated lines. Because of the dedication, it is secure but not encrypted. Leased lines are not encrypted. VPN lines are encrypted. So VPN is accessed through regular internet, but it is encrypted. Leased lines are separate lines, so not required any encryption there. Okay, so that's why we are using VPN to connect our infrastructure and to access our infrastructure from anywhere through internet. Even for branch offices, same thing. So establish the connection to VPN server. So it encrypt your data communication and it creates using, of course, it use different tunnels types. Okay, so then your secure line it is. Next, it will, you are communicating with simply the communication between your PC and these servers are like a accessing through uh, local LAN network only. That kind of experience you will get it. Okay, but when you are using VPN, you can't use regular internet related things, and better not to use regular internet kind of stuff because your IP address is also masked to the some different IP address. So obviously you can't access the regular internet things. That will cause more damage. Like you want to, you are connected to VPN and you are accessing your server or some database or some application server. You are accessing from your PC. Now you want to open Amazon.com or Facebook.com, some XYZ.com. Okay, well, some like Google.com. So better not to open other websites because that is directly accessed through internet and you are actually accessing VPN. Okay, so you can disconnect VPN and you can access what are the website you want it and then close it and connect to the VPN. Of course, to secure the line, there is a lot of techniques, certification techniques also there, algorithms also there. This is main purpose of VPN. I didn't jump much, but actually I want to give VPN thing as an assignment to you. But you asked a question, I told. But original point, the port address translation, that is completed actually. So that's why I came into this VPN anyway. You got a question. Okay. So this is original purpose of VPN, guys. Okay, but lot of people nowadays using a VPN for accessing some kind of websites or blocked websites in India, unable to access certain websites in India. So people try to access, people try to see their things. Okay, that is some, I don't know exactly how much harmful or a danger it is. So that is based on your risk only. You know what hackers will do generally using a VPN technique. Using VPN technique, how hackers will do it. In generally, alone a person, a single alone hacker don't do it. The real hackers has a hacker community is there. Okay, real hackers having a hacker community. Using VPNs, how they can able to manage. Maybe you watch a lot of movies also there. So like this. This is my world map or any map. It is okay. Color, no color, nothing. So, okay, this is also good. You have to copy this one. No, not required. So look at here. A hacker is sitting in a Russia. He steal your information. Then you are trying to trace back, right? And you are tracing back to the Russia. And immediately, again, you have to retrace that it will go to Ukraine. Then it is go to the Greenland, and then it is go to the Canada. Then it is go to the Brazil. Means the hacker community, they have their own VPN server, different VPN servers are there because it is a encrypted and virtual private network. So it is encrypted, lot of tunnels are there. So what it will go? It will jump from one place to another place to like while you are tracing back. So it will the packet will be forward to through multiple VPN servers. So it is very difficult to trace where originally hack is happened, from which location original hack is happened. If a hacker is alone hacker, he don't have any other VPN communities and all. What he will do, he will hack some system and people will trace back and he will get caught. Okay, the real-time hackers, what they will do, they will jump the through. They'll jump from Russia to Canada, Canada to Libya, Libya to Brazil, Brazil to Ireland, Ireland to Sweden, Sweden to Australia, Australia to Jakarta, okay, okay, Japan, okay, Japan to Indonesia, like this, and finally it will reach somewhere, and also it is diverted from here. Okay, so the actually that VPNs are using for one purpose, that is I told, that is for accessing our infrastructure from through internet, okay, from home and through internet, very simple, right? But and VPNs also using for this technique. Nowadays VPNs are using maximum very recently only these VPNs are came into market last 4 5 years for accessing some certain websites like a torrent website. Torrents are blocked in India, but not in a worldwide, right? So still you want to access the torrent kind of stuff, then you can connect it through VPN. I never used that VPN, guys, so I don't know exactly that kind of VPNs. Okay, and also try to find what is a VPN, what is a proxy, and other things also. Wait, okay, yeah, I think so. That is enough. I've taken a lot of time.